is America First with Sebastian Gorka.
What is the connection between Speedo swimwear, fried chicken, and Central Europe? That is the question. We will be launching our podcast today with none other than my good friend and co-host, former White House colleague Boris Epshteyn. We call him the Baron, and this is episode 57 of the Battle for 1600. Baron, are you there?
I'm here. And I'm livened up by that pre-show we just had.
That pre-show where we should have had the mics on. How did it begin?
Priceless.
It was you in your Speedos. I don't know, some crazy vision.
Hold on. Let's be honest.
No fake news. No fake
This
news.
is fake news free zone. Fake news free zone, okay? It wasn't about me and my Speedos. Only one of us was forced by his significant other, the love of his life, his wife, to give up wearing Speedos, and it wasn't me.
It's true. It's true. I have to say, guys, I was born in England, to Hungarian parents. After the fall of the Berlin Wall, I went to live in the newly liberated land of my forefathers, 15 years in post-communist Hungary. And for me, you only swim in Speedos. And shorts should be, crazy idea, short. So if you're wearing shorts, if they're past your knees, they're pants. But what happened? I came here, I'm now an American, and my Speedos are illegal? Come on, Boris.
Well, I'm not sure if they're illegal, but they're definitely banned. They're censored.
But you can relate, can't you? You're a European. You're a man of the world.
Before we came to this country, when I was a kid, when I was 11, I had no idea that men wear anything. But
Speedos
to bathe.
Yeah, but Speedos.
But I will tell you, though, as neither you nor I, let's put it this way, have the Brad Pitt build, with respect, you're a very handsome man.
But it's not the point.
The haircut looks great. The haircut looks
Thank
great.
you. I'm liking the beard. The beard's coming back. I can see it. Until your parents appear, it should grow as long as you can get it.
But I will tell you that I think the happy medium, not the huge, straight out of Tommy Bahama swim trunks that are down to ankles, but a nice, more tasteful, swim short. I think to me.
Okay, I'll compromise. Hey, look, I love
the pockets.
I love my banana hammocks, but I will compromise. The longest I will go, is Thomas Magnum. Magnum PI shorts. 4 inches long tops. I'm sorry. That's my limit. A man has to know his limits.
What about James Bond right above the knee?
No, that's post-colonial. Come on, guys. Can we live in the 20th century, please? Can we get it a little bit above the knee, please? They're meant to be shorts. Short. So hang on. Where was I? I was in a store somewhere. Or was I in the gym? No, I was in the gym. Was I in the gym? No, I was in the gun store. I was in the gun store. That's right. And I went in with longer. I'm sorry if I'm going to but this is important to me. This is a real neuralgic point for me.
This is a main issue here.
This is the stuff that culture is built upon. Western civilization, the length of your shorts. I was in a gun store. Gun range, actually. And I had safari shorts on. So they're like Magnum PIs, but maybe 2 inches, maybe 6 inches. Just real shorts. And a guy looked at me, and he's a complete stranger, and he said, "What are you wearing?" And I said, "Shorts." Come on, guys. When did this happen in America? I'm sorry, in the 1950s, you didn't have shorts past your knees.
So my computer got so excited about your story that it froze there for a little chat. Are we good?
We're good.
We keep recording.
But a stranger said my shorts are too short. Oh, we've lost the Baron again. Are you there? Yes, you are. I can see you moving. My shorts were deemed. The deep state doesn't like this topic. They are sensitive. Unless they think shorts is code word for something. I don't know.
Well, so here's what I will tell you.
Okay.
There's a lot of things I expected for us to talk about. And there's a lot that I thought we would cover. you and a banana hammock was not one of them, okay? That was not going to be one of my top picks, but that's why this is so fun.
I like to live on the edge. I like to surprise you. Episode 57, I can still surprise the Baron.
I'm surprised that, you know what? Couldn't be happier surprised. Now, for those of you who have not had, you mentioned it, living in beautiful Hungary, post-communist Hungary. If you have not been to Budapest, which, for those who know anything, is two separate cities.
Buda and Pest, which 100 years ago was called what? Here's some trivia for you. What was Budapest called 100 years ago? It's a tough one.
What was Buda and Pest? I knew there was Buda and Pest. I'm going to give up. What is it?
Well, have one guess. If it's two cities called Buda and Pest, and today it's Budapest, what do you think it was 100 years ago?
Pest Buda?
Yes!
No!
Yes, they reversed it.
I got it.
He knows it. The history is in his blood. It's two cities, Buda, the beautiful hilly part with the villas, Pest, the commercial flat part, and it was Pest, Buda first, and then they thought, no, that doesn't scan. Budapest, that sounds better, so they changed it.
And and actually, you know what? That makes sense because Pest is where, what is that beautiful cathedral?
St. Stephen's.
It's unbelievable.
Total
in
Gothic cathedral, right?
Just and then the gorgeous Parliament, the House of Parliament, which is both are the architecture is different from anywhere else you go. It's not like Paris, it's not like Moscow or St. Petersburg. It's not like anywhere you go. It has a little bit of that Magyar, obviously. It's got
eclectic.
so much. It's very eclectic, and for any of you who have not been to that beautiful city on the Danube, please go. The food is unbelievable.
And you can wear Speedos.
And if you want to wear a banana hammock to dinner, God bless you.
In fact, if you wear American shorts, they're going to tourist. If you want to blend in, get your Speedos on.
Get your Speedos, get some short shorts. No, it's a beautiful place. There's an island on the Danube where people
St. Margaret's
get together.
Island. Beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's a truly wonderful place. So those of you who haven't been, make sure you go. There's amazing history going back a long way. But also, I went to the caves, the World War II caves.
You did? In the side of the mountain with the hospital, the military hospital underneath? Wow. Yeah. I'm impressed.
Yeah. Well, I'm a history buff, World War II buff, and obviously, as we talk about the history of World War II and the armies go. It was fascinating to me to see it, and then how it was used after World War II, obviously by the communists, and it was really.
And if you want, I mean, it's not exactly what people think of when they go on vacation, but if you want a glimpse of the heart of darkness,
I think I know what you're going to say.
Of really what we fight every single day, and that's the threat of socialism. You can visit number 60 Andrassy Boulevard, which is a beautiful villa on the main drag of the city, which was first the Arrow Cross fascist headquarters after the takeover by the Arrow Cross Party, and then it became the head of the AVH, the Communist Secret Police, and that's the building in the basement of which my father was tortured when he was first arrested. And today it is the most gruesome but the best historic testament to the evil of communism in that part of the world, because they've reconstructed it as the House of Terror. It is the history museum of the communist regime. You see all kinds of different things on multiple levels. It's amazing how they took over, how they perverted the courts, how they stole the national economy. But in the basement, and I walked through it with my dad, they reconstructed the torture chambers. Have you been there?
I did. I went when I was there. So moving, so impactful, and it's on this beautiful boulevard with beautiful trees. It's an uplifting, happy street, and you walk in, and it truly shocks you. So you went with your dad, who had been tortured there. What was that experience like?
I to this day, I mean, God rest his soul, my mother's soul. It's one of the mysteries of my family. I do not understand to this day. Not only how he could walk through that building with me, through the rooms where he had been physically and mentally tortured, but how he functioned as one of the happiest men I know, one of the most resilient. I mean, I know why, I know how. I know that he was imprisoned with some of the creme de la creme of the Catholic Church, the Protestant Church, priests, professionals, and it helped him keep his faith. And I know it was his belief in the Almighty Creator that kept him alive. And to this day, probably my most treasured possession is he had a toothbrush in prison that was made out of Bakelite, the protoplastic, and it was blue and white. So it was like two layers of plastic, blue and white. And in prison, with a piece of glass, he scraped it. He was an artist. He was a sculptor and a painter. Became an architect. He fashioned a crucifix this big out of the toothpick, with the cross being the blue part and the body of Jesus being the white part. And he hid that from the secret police, having to swallow it at times. And his faith kept him alive. But how? I mean, look, I know, if they had done 1% to me of what they did to my father, 2 years in solitary, 2 years down a prison coal mine, I would either be dead or I would be a mental, utter wreck for the rest of my life. He was not only one of the bravest men I've ever known, probably the bravest, he was a fun guy to be around. So it was quite an experience. If you really, I didn't know we were going to talk about it. If you want a little bit of an insight, all of my books that I've written about my work in America, because I want to connect with people and explain to them why I do what I do. Every book starts with just a prologue about what my parents went through. And whenever I meet anybody who's read, Defeating Jihad or The War for America's Soul, the only thing they ever want to talk about is my dad in those chapters.
It's
about
personal.
People, and this is because of my wife. My wife said when I wrote my first book on Al Qaeda, she said, "Are you nuts? No, nobody's going to read this unless they're wonks in the counterterrorism world. If you want to connect with the reader, you have to explain first why you are obsessively working on the totalitarian ideology of the jihadists, and explain to them why for you that totalitarianism of the jihadists is very similar to the fascism and the communism that your parents lived through. So explain to them your perspective." And so I open every single book with a story about what my parents went through, what my father experienced in prison. So if you're interested, go to our website, Gorka.com, and you can get the books. And it's really, I mean, I think your family's experience has got to be a large part of why you do what you do too, Boris.
Absolutely, and my family's experience. My grandfather fought against the Nazis for 4 years, on various fronts. Down on the Crimean front, he liberated Sevastopol, and then and the Baltics. But pushing back against the scourge of Nazism, and my grandfather was a war hero. Had the medals, and I'm proud to name my son after him. And then my parents and my leading our family with my now elderly by then grandparents. My mom's mom, her dad passed away when she was young, sadly, but then my dad's parents, taking us out of the rubbles of Russia and into the promise of America absolutely drives what I do. But they didn't. The suffering that your dad went through, though, is just is colossal, and I'm so thankful that you talk about it. And I think it's a lesson. And another experience I had in Budapest, which has stuck with me, is this. You mentioned the horrors of the Arrow Cross, the monument with the shoes. The shoes.
Describe it to our viewers. I think it's one of the most haunting testaments to the Shoah that I've ever seen. But go ahead.
It is. It's a monument on the Danube, on the Pest side, and by not far from the Parliament building. It's right there, and it's just shoes. It's shoes made out of bronze or made out of metal, bronze that are. Obviously locked in, they're locked into the pavement, and it's just, shoes next to each other in a row, and it's a commemoration to the Jews of Hungary and of Budapest who were murdered by the Arrow Cross, and they were made to stand in front of the Danube tied up, and I think every other one was pushed into the river.
Into the river.
to the river to drown and to never come back again. And then the horrors of the Holocaust, the Shoah, is something that obviously I carry so closely with me, and why I was honored to be a point person on Jewish Outreach and not to type up, but for President Trump, because I believe he's been such a great fighter against anti-Semitism. But that
he's the most philo-Semitic president we've had since '48, and that's just a fact. Moving the embassy and everything else, and the Abraham Accords. Did you visit in the old ghetto? Did you visit the synagogue?
I did. The
large. Do you know who paid for the renovation of the synagogue?
I do not.
It's beautiful, massive synagogue in the old ghetto, with another incredible memorial with the willow tree out of metal, where each leaf has a name of somebody who died in the ghetto.
I've got goosebumps right now just remembering it. Yeah, and I brought back mementos, and there's actually a synagogue in New York. I believe it's Midtown, the Midtown synagogue, which is modeled exactly.
Really? I think I know why. Because the guy who paid for the renovation and the rebuilding of the synagogue, Tony Curtis.
Oh, is that right?
Tony Curtis was Curtis Tony. It means Tony the gardener, and his family is Hungarian. So the great actor Tony Curtis paid for the rebuilding of the Budapest synagogue.
It is unbelievable. I've got pictures of myself in the synagogue, and I went with a close friend of mine, Adam Katz, who's also Jewish and whose family relishes our religion and traditions, and to experience that, to experience the ghetto, to experience the light of the synagogue, and also to take in, the as you said, harrowing. Memorial, as a Jewish person, it's something that's really stuck with me, and it was momentous to me. It was truly, truly a deep feeling. It wasn't just you experience as a tourist, right? It was something that was much more transcendent. It was much more transcendent than that, because Hungary really did experience all the worst of World War II, and the Hungarian Jews suffered really, in some ways, more than the Jewry in Poland annihilated, the Jewry in Lithuania annihilated. Well, the Jewry in Hungary really was largely destroyed, and and also it does tell you, and I think you'll agree with it. And if you look at most of these, if you look at the countries, including the Ukraine and Belarus in some ways, definitely Poland, sadly, and Lithuania, it's just so sad to realize that it wasn't the German army, they did their dirty work, but a lot of the day-to-day was done by the people of the countries which were invaded.
I'm so glad you said this, because this is exactly where we hit upon the situation today in America, and we look at that Instagram post by Gina Carano, which got her fired from Disney. We knew they wanted to get rid of her because she's a conservative, and I hate the conservatives who said, well, it was a pretty cack-handed, unsubtle Instagram post. It was exactly right. It showed a picture of a Jewish woman, half naked, being chased through the streets, not by stormtroopers, not by the SS, but by her neighbors. And the Instagram post said, it starts not with, the death camps. It starts with the dehumanization of your fellow man, which is exactly what we are witnessing here in America with cancel culture. It sounds cute, cancel culture, but Gina Carano was on the money. The death camps didn't start in 1933 with Hitler's election. The death camps had to be prepared in society with the dehumanization of the other, whether it's the Jew, the Catholic, the mental handicapped, whoever it was. You had to create a culture where it was okay to treat the other as subhuman.
And something that a lot of the countries of the Eastern Bloc, Poland specifically, really fight to forget, but as long as I'm alive, I'm not going to allow that to happen, is if you study Auschwitz and you study Birkenau and you study the concentration camps, most of the staffing was not German. Let's just be honest. And the same thing in Ukraine, Babi Yar.
Right. It's a local community.
It was local communities. And if you look at the history of Eastern Europe, you look at the pogroms and the anti-Jew, the severe, horrible, overwhelming anti-Semitism. That's the reason we are in this country and left in 1991. But anti-Jewish, anti-Catholic, as you said, hate of anything other than
the approved whatever.
Right. That's the danger. The toxification of your fellow man, of your neighbor, the feeling that because one is a conservative, they have horns. How's it different than saying if you're Jewish, you have horns? The insistence by by members of the Senate, I'm only going to vote for somebody if they're a minority.
Let me jump in here because there's one cut I want to share with all of those who are watching and listening. And we didn't prepare any of this. We didn't prepare the Speedos or anything else or the House of Terror. But this is the natural. This is what I wanted to talk about. So we have a cut that some might not realize why I'm mentioning it here. But for me, it's the most disturbing thing I've seen in a long time in America. So, Eric, can you play the cut from Senator Cruz, please?
Please respect. Please give dignity to the people. Please give dignity to the people.
So you work for the commissioner, your senior advisor. You were hired 2 weeks ago, and you're instructed to ask us to not have any pictures taken here.
Please respect the people,
because the political leadership at DHS does not want the American people to know it.
Please respect the rules,
You keep standing in front of the pictures, so you don't want the pictures taken. The rules are arbitrary, and they're designed to keep the American people in the dark.
Dignity and respect. That's all we ask.
Well,
Dignity
no, it's
and
not.
respect.
You're asking, is this dignity and respect? Look at these people.
Please give
There's
dignity
a
and
pandemic.
respect to the people.
Let me ask you. There's a
I
pandemic.
respectfully ask you, sir.
There is a pandemic. Is this respecting the rights of these kids?
I ask you. Please
Are you
respect
respecting the rights of these kids?
This is not a zoo, sir. Please don't treat the people.
You're right, and this is a dangerous place.
Please don't treat the
and
people
your
like
policies,
this. That's all I ask
unfortunately,
for you,
are
sir.
trying to hide them. I understand
That's
you
all
were
I ask
instructed
you.
when 18
I
senators
ask you
came
to
down
please
here.
respect the people, give them dignity
I
and
respect them, and I want to fix this situation.
We all want to
and
fix
the
it, sir. We
administration
don't
you're
want
working
this to
for is
happen
responsible for these conditions.
Please respect the people with dignity and respect,
And
sir.
I ask you to respect the people as well. This
I am respecting
is not
you.
respect.
I am respecting the
This
people.
is not respect.
I said it on my radio show, America First, and I stand by it, and I'm going to say it again. What we witnessed there, that flunky, that apparatchik from the White House sent to stop an elected senator, see the truth, was the attitude of the people who assisted the trains running on time to the death camps, who assisted the system in setting up the gulags, the talking points. Dignity and respect. I'm going to repeat dignity and respect 100 times. The mindless droning. It's like the Soviet concept of the Zampolit. She's a political officer. She couldn't give a shit, excuse my French, for the dignity and respect of the people piled like cordwood behind her, 20% of which at least have COVID. So for me, you know what? That was shades of the dark future we potentially face, Boris.
It's horrible, scary, disgusting. I also think it may be unconstitutional. He's the senator from Texas, and I believe he's in Texas.
Yes,
he's in his home state. So I'm not sure. They'll say, "Oh, it's federal ground," but they're in the state of Texas, and the senator from Texas, a federal elected official, should have every right to inspect what's going on in his state because it impacts his state. It impacts his state because people go in and out of that facility. There's COVID in the facility, and the balance and the interaction between seeing that, apparatchik, as you called it, right? The political
She's like a robot, Boris.
So had nothing to say, but then looking behind her and seeing that is not a storage facility for Amazon. That is not, that is not, some place where this, ShopRite is storing its fruits and vegetables and dry goods. Those are human beings. That's not a warehouse.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like a warehouse, but those are human beings stacked back there, and they're alive. They're alive for now. And that is what Joe Biden and the Democrat Party did to them by getting rid of our borders on day one, and then what they're doing to America by making it impossible not to have something like that. Now, the fact that they're mishandling the situation is 100% obvious. They threw the borders open. They have no idea how to handle it. You got Pete Buttigieg as the transportation sector. You've got a bunch of no-names, as in charge of the big departments. There's no adults in the room, and Joe Biden is, barely there. I mean, the video of him walking up the stairs, this time with some bag and his raincoat, and he couldn't even salute. It was just it was absolutely disturbing. There's no one at the rudder. We're rudderless, and this is what we have going on at our border. And for those of you who think it has nothing to do with you, every town's a border town in America.
Yes,
because people are being sent all over this country. People are losing jobs. The health of the country is going to deteriorate because of the disaster at the border. And again, if you just turn your back, if you turn to the side and you pretend it's not happening, you are missing that this country is in deep trouble. And you know what? We're not even 3 months into the Biden administration.
Yeah, this is the biggest.
If it's this bad now, where do you think it's going?
Yeah, and this will have to be the message we leave all our listeners and viewers with. We are 70 days in, and it's getting worse as opposed to better. And our commitment, your commitment, everybody's commitment to the truth has to be even stronger than it was 70 days ago.
100%. Fight back, stand strong, be color within the lines. But we have to stand up for what America is. We cannot be controlled by these robots like the one you showed. We cannot allow our country to turn into Germany in 1933. And by the way, the spending of trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars is going to cause the same hyperinflation that the Weimar Republic of the 1920s experienced. And we all know how that ended.
Yeah.
So take it from us. Take it from someone like you whose father experienced the horrors of communism and which was ushered in from Nazi control.
Yeah.
And from someone like me whose family ran away from the rubbles of the Soviet Union and whose forefathers and ancestors were killed in the Holocaust. Take it from us. Do not allow the extreme to take over. Stand strong. Fight for our country.
It's up to us, guys. Listen to the Baron. I'm Sebastian Gorka. This has been episode 57 of The Battle for 1600. Spread the word. Send the link out. We'll write a review. And don't forget to tell others to subscribe as well. God bless you all. Follow the Baron at Boris_EP on Twitter. I'm Seb Gorka. And also on Instagram, Sebastian_Gorka and Boris_Epshteyn. Stay safe.
God bless.
America First